Hello and welcome to Cole Red Plays Raid Shadow Legends. I am Cole Red. Thank you for joining me. So typically on Monday, we do our weekly planning video. Now this week is anything but typical. We're still going to do a planning video, but it's going to be a bit more complicated than before because I think this is one of the most complicated weeks in Raid I have ever seen. Now, in addition to all of the daily, weekly timers and the regular stuff that we have to cover and just remind ourselves about, there are also 3 really big events going on. And it's not just like separate events. They are all mixed together and intertwined in a new way. And that's where the complication comes from. We have the Armand's Fusion event, which is almost over, but it's not quite over for everybody. And the last event in the Fusion event is the Hero's Path. Now, the Hero's Path isn't just going to award fragments for the Armand's Fusion. It's also got a guaranteed champion, the St. Patrick's Day champion, Pedrag, I believe his name is. And it has a 5-star soul for that champion as well. So those are 2 additional prizes we have to worry about in the Hero's Path. And then a new Titan event has launched. It's the Festival Titan event, for which the grand prize is a 5-star soul for Armand's. Again, in this event, you can get a 1, 2, 3, or 4-star soul before you get the 5-star soul. So you don't always have to go for the 5-star soul, but that is the grand prize. And going back to the Hero's Path, there are points for this Titan event in the Hero's Path. So you have to be very, very careful about how you allocate your resources in the Hero's Path. So we need to cover that really closely to make sure that we don't make mistakes, because with 4 potential big rewards from that Hero's Path, we want to make sure that we don't spread our resources out too thinly so that we miss all 4. We want to make sure you lock each one in sequentially and judge your resources accordingly so you know exactly how far you can go and how many of those rewards you can get, and maybe decide which ones are your priority. So despite all that, we want to move kind of quickly because there is a lot to cover. So let's get started. Raid Madness marches on. The second round results are in. So if you want to see if your favorite epic made it through to the round of the Sacred 16, you should click on the link below and go check out the bracket results. While you're there, go ahead and vote for the third round matchups because we have opened voting immediately. No need to wait. Too many people missed out on the last round, so we want to make sure that doesn't happen again. Now, we will have another great collaboration dropping tomorrow with our guest analyst, MTG Jedi. We'll be covering all of those third round matchups. So if you want to wait for that, you certainly can. But remember, you can also change your vote up until the time voting closes, which will be 11:59 p.m. Thursday night, March 21st. Remember that we are Eastern Daylight Time now. That is -4 UTC. So make sure you adjust for whatever time zone you happen to live in. I would highly suggest you go over there and vote. Participating is so much fun. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next round. I hope you're enjoying Raid Madness as much as I am. I'll see you in that video tomorrow. Now let's get back to the weekly planning video. Okay, so let's start and get sort of the every week stuff out of the way first, the timers and the cooldowns and all of the things you need to remember to get your week started off on the right foot, and then we'll get to the events afterwards. Okay, let's start with Arena. Arena just reset. You can see just 11 hours ago, Arena reset. Tag Team Arena 13 hours ago. So go ahead, grab your rewards, and reset your defenses. Again, make a plan for what day you will put your regular defenses back in so that you can either climb or hold in the tier you're in. But if you want to farm, it's often easier to put in those one-man defenses. That allows you to gather resources more easily. As you can see here, we have about a day and a half left in the Hydra Clash and the Hydra Keys. You can see there is a 4-hour gap between the Hydra Clash and the keys resetting. So you actually have 4 extra hours if for whatever reason you didn't want to put your keys into the Hydra Clash. It makes no sense. I don't understand it, but it's there. So make sure you're planning ahead. I typically wait pretty close into the last minute, but don't do that if you don't have to. And remember, there is that 4-hour gap. So if you're worried about Hydra Clash, it's the lower timer that matters. The upper timer is for the keys, but the lower timer is for the Clash. Looking at Doom Tower, you can see the Dark Fae rotation resets in 2 days and 17 hours. That means you have 4 sets of keys. You have the keys from today, you have the keys from 2 more resets, and then you have the keys on the last reset, because the Doom Tower doesn't reset when the server resets. So you can actually get 40 floors. Also, remember to go and get your secret rooms done. Start doing it now because you don't want to wait until the last minute and then miss out on your champion fragment. Additionally, if you want to farm one of these bosses for forge materials, you got 4 sets of keys left to do it with. So get farming and get your materials. For the Cursed City, you can see we still have plenty of time left in the Cursed City. I will say that I struggle to get my keys done with the Cursed City, and I have adopted the practice of doing them early in the day. They're often the first thing I do after I get my energy ticking up. You can see I have 100 out of 130 energy, and now I would spend my keys in the Cursed City, or sometimes I do them right after reset, literally right then, just to make sure I get them done. A quick little tip, if you are doing the hard mode version of Cursed City and you are running out of time on your keys, try dropping down to the normal mode just to get those keys used, get some resources, get some rewards, and then you could always go back up to the harder level tomorrow. You get enough keys to actually clear both difficulties. So it's better to spread those keys around and make sure you actually complete them than to waste them because you're trying to push to Amius really quickly in hard mode and you're not getting there because you don't have the time to do your keys. Clan quests reset in just over half a day, so make sure you complete any remaining outstanding quests that you've taken, get your gold, and then get in there to the shop and get your rewards, because the rewards will also reset in just about 13 hours. And that means if you're trying to get your champion fragments for Yakarl or Yannica, make sure you lock those down this week. Also, if you want energy for the fusion, buy that out. And then you're going to have another set, hopefully, of rewards in just about 13 hours. There is no CVC this week, so you don't have to worry about that timer. So let's go ahead and move on to the big events now. So here we are on the Plarium Play calendar. Again, I'm glad they added this to the game. It's not an awesome calendar, but it does give you an opportunity to see what events are coming your way. Now, the big event that is currently still probably the most important is the Armanz Fusion. You want to finish that off strong, and there are several events that are going on there. So we currently have the Spider Tournament and the Dungeon Divers event that are coinciding. I would highly recommend you just drop all of your energy for the Dungeon Divers event into Spider. It's the fastest dungeon to clear, and it rewards the most silver, and you're going to need that silver because there's also an artifact enhancement event that you need to finish off for fragments. Now, if you know you are going for the 50 extra fragments in the Path of the Clover event, you can potentially skip maybe this artifact enhancement event, maybe even skip the Dungeon Divers event. You don't have to finish that if you don't want to, as long as you finish the Classic Arena Takedown as well. Because looking ahead, there is another artifact enhancement event that is starting at the beginning of the Festival Titan event. So this is only a few days in, and you've only got a gap of about a day there, maybe 2 in between those 2 artifact enhancement events. So if you're worried about silver and you have the extra fragments, then you can skip this artifact enhancement event. However, getting those extra fragments is going to require that you use extra shards, and you want to be careful about your shard usage. Remember, points in the Clover event come from shard pulls and soul stones. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Now, there is an additional tournament going on right now, which is the Sand Devil Turn Attack. This is not part of the fusion, it's not part of the Hero's Path, and it's not part of the Titan event. So it doesn't actually coincide with any of those. It's not giving you any extra rewards that are super valuable. However, it does grant soul stones and immortal soul coins. So if you're really tight on resources, especially shards, and you think a few extra 1,000 points might help you, and you have the energy to go for it, you could do the Sand Devil Turn Attack, get your oils, get those immortal soul stones, and use those as points in the Path of the Clover event. Be careful and calculate, because those are potential extra resources, but they're also going to cost you time and energy to get them. And you want to make sure that you're not distracted from doing all the other things that are actually directly rewarding things you need for the fusion or the Path of the Clover or the Titan event. Okay, so I think in order to go any further, we have to take a close look at the Path of the Clover event, because this is the place where all of the rewards are mixing together. And this is where the mistakes are likely to come. So let's go take a look at that event. Okay, here on the event page, you can see we have the Festival Titan event. We also have the Path of the Clover event. The Path of the Clover event is 3.5 days long from this point, so you have plenty of time. Don't feel you need to pull your shards today. There's a progressive event going on each day for the next 3 days. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But for right now, let's focus on the points. Okay, remember that the Festival Titan event, the reward is a 5-star Armanz Split Soul. There are 1,750 points available over the course of this event, and you need 1,500 of them. And that matters because within the Path of the Clover event, there are rewards. There are 4 kinds of rewards, basically. There are 4 different kinds of rewards, and they're going to require different paths in order to get those different rewards. The first most basic reward is the fragments for Khafru that will help you complete the Armon's fusion if you haven't already gotten these shards. Now, in order to get each of these fragments, it's going to take about 21,000 points, just over 21,000 points to get each set of fragments. That's a lot. So if you're looking for all 50 fragments, that's going to be 40 something thousand points, 42, 43,000 points to get both of those. Now, if you don't need the fragments, you still need a key, because if you look at the center path, this is where you go and get Pedrag, the champion. So Patty, I'm going to call him Patty. This is how you get Patty. You come down here and then you go to the left side. You can see there's a key right here, and this is the champion. Okay, so the champion's on the left side. Don't confuse him with the center path. This is an avatar. That's not a useful thing. It's cool to have if you have a bunch of extra points, but this is not the champion. The champion is on the left side. You can see his soul is on the right side. So if you want the champion, you need to get at least one of the keys that are in the outside track. I would recommend, if you don't need the fragments for the Armon's fusion, you just go for the right side, because that's going to save you 4,000 points, right? You don't have to spend the 4,000 points that are on the left side for Khafru. That's a little bit cheaper to go down the right side. Then you're going to come down the middle, take a left turn, go to the left side, and then come down the left side and get your champion. Now, to get Predrag is going to take about Patty. We're going to call him Patty. To get Patty takes about 93 to 94,000 points. So you want to go ahead, break out your calculator. You have one on your phone. Go ahead and do the actual math and figure out the exact number of points you're going to need. And then if you want to know where those points are coming from, just click on the eye here, and you can see 3 points for a mystery shard, 300 for an ancient, 750 for a void, 1,800 primal, 4,500 for a sacred, and then you can also get the points for the soul stones as well. Add up your resources, figure out how many points you can get maximum, and then come back here and plan your path. Now, remember, there are 4 really big prizes. Armon's, Patty, a soul for Armon's from the Titan event, and a soul for Patty from this hero's path. You may not be able to get all 4. You may only be able to get 1 or 2. In my mind, the priority is the champions, because you can always get the souls later. So I think you want to prioritize Armon's first, Patty second, and then the souls after that point. If you can only get 1 soul, consider that as well. Another thing to remember is that the Titan events generally follow the same pattern as fusion events. So this is a summon event. We know that this is a shard pulling event, but there may be 2 additional shard pulling events for the Festival Titan event in order to get that 5-star soul. So be careful. Don't necessarily over pull your shards in order to go for this soul if you want that Armon's soul instead. Now, you could also settle for like a 2-star soul or a 4-star soul or something over there. There is that option there, whereas this is the only soul available for Patty. So you either get the 5-star soul or nothing. But remember, with Armon's, you could get the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, or the 5. So that's also a consideration. Now, in terms of points for the Titan event, if you go and get the key, which you're going to get basically if you're doing this event at all, if you go and get the key, then you are going to get 100 points. Remember, you can give away 250 points in the Titan event. So this would mean that you are only giving away 100 points here instead of 200. There are only 200 available in the hero's path. If you want all 200 points, remember that's going to take extra resources to come down here and get it. It's going to be about 11,000 points, I think. Let's see. 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11,250 points to get all 100 on each side. So that's an additional investment if you want all of the points here. Okay, so now we know there are also 3 progressive chance events. You can come here to the news tab, just click on that, and the very top item for today is the progressive chance events. Click on there, you'll see there are 3 events, 1 for each day. The first one grants these champions. You can see Feral, Grazzers from Void. Tomorrow's event will be Kira, Blizzar, Snicktrack, Tyrant Ixlamore. Got Ursuga and Krisk from the Voids. And then the third one, the champions are listed here. So you can decide which batch of champions you're most interested in for when you pull your shards. Now, it is possible that some of you are right on the cusp of having enough shards. If you are there, but you're not all the way there, if you aren't guaranteed to get the reward that you're looking for, don't pull shards yet. Wait. You have a chance to get shards from your login rewards. You got a chance to get shards from your clan boss chests. So you may get enough shards to then know that you're guaranteed to get your reward. If you are not guaranteed to get your reward, don't throw away the shards. The progressive chance by itself is not worth using your shards on. You want to hold them for a 2x event or a guaranteed champion event or a fusion or a Titan event like this that has a 5-star soul or something better than just a progressive chance event. So even if there's a really good progressive chance champion in day 1, if you don't have enough shards, hold them. Hold. Don't fire until you see that you can actually reach your objective. Okay, that is it for me. Let me know in the comments below, which of the rewards are you going to be going for? Do you already have your Armands locked down, or do you need to get those fragments from the hero's path? And then, are you going for Patty? Are you going for all the souls? What you doing? I'm probably going to skip the Patty soul. I'm going to hope to get the 5-star soul for Armands, but if not, I should be able to grab that 4-star soul, which feels pretty good as well. All right, thanks so much for hanging out. I have been Cole Red, and I will see you in another video soon.